All right, guys, this is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and we are here with another Raid Shadow Legends free to play mystery shard only run video. So, this is going to be the first video in a series that we are going to be redoing a lot of the videos that we did back in the day and trying to make them a little more a little more fluid, all right? And so you can actually see what we did. So today we're going to be doing Dragon. This is going to be the quick guide from stage 1 to 25. We're going to blast through the first few stages pretty quickly. We're not going to actually play stage 25. However, because it takes a very long time and I don't want this to be the longest video ever. So I have the picture of the team that we're going to be showing. It's going to be on the actual thumbnail, so you'll see that they can do it and it is possible. We're just going to show it, and then we'll show stage 25 with the higher end heroes. All right, just because it's quicker. So basically, Dragon is kind of the easiest boss in the whole game. All right, we've actually completed it all through hard mode with the current heroes that we have, but we're going to be doing normal mode for this video. So essentially, in the beginning of the game, you're going to choose a beginner. Honestly, it doesn't even matter who it is. Eventually, you're going to be able to beat these things pretty much by themselves. So you'll see they can actually beat them by themselves at level 60, obviously, but you can use any team you want here. So for the first few stages, it honestly literally doesn't matter who you use. I can bring in any hero I want into these fights, and it's not going to matter. All right, let's go to the next fight. All right, literally any hero. All right, so who do you want to pick? I don't care. We'll pick a Veer. How's that? Start. All right. It literally doesn't matter. As long as your heroes are built up and can actually do damage, you can win these fights. The only downside here is that if your team's not fast enough, basically what's going to end up happening is you're going to get stunned and you're going to have some issues. So any hero with lifesteal is going to be a much easier situation because you can heal yourself up. If you have a shielder, anything like that, you can eventually beat these with pretty much anyone you want. Just make sure you have a healer and some lifesteal. Maybe you don't even need lifesteal in the beginning. You can bring in people who just are damage dealers and you can kind of beat it. Now, once you start getting into, I would say maybe we'll say stage, I don't know. I don't even know when you're going to have a problem here. I would say probably between 5 and 8, you might start seeing an issue when you first start, just because you're not going to have the heroes to do it. But pretty much up until stage 10, it's just leveling heroes. That's it. We actually have the uncommon team that we used here, and it worked just fine. Here we go. Let's go here. Let's bring in some uncommons. How's that? We'll try it with these guys. Let's see if they can beat stage 10. I honestly don't even know. We're going to find out. I'm assuming the answer is yes. I guess the answer is yes. So literally, you can use uncommon heroes in here if you want. And if you really want to see it, you can see up to stage 13 on my uncommon onlys run. And you can see that they do this just fine up to stage 13 with the the 5 heroes. Now, in the beginning of the game, the main thing is that everything's going to take time. So I know the first thing that people are going to say is, well, oh, you're using level 60 heroes. Like, yeah, and so will you be. We've been playing the other game. I think in this account, we had level 60s probably within the second month, like a full level 60 team. On the uncommons, we're in the third month, and I just got my last 60, but that's because I'm not playing it as much. We're not doing this as much as we used to on that account. So yeah, you can do this with pretty much anyone you want. Now, once you start getting into the higher end areas of Dragon, things are going to start to change. All right. So around 13 is when is really where you want to get before when you start farming. And then farm basically stays 13 until you get some reasonable gear, and then you can start moving forward unless you happen to get some really good heroes or really good gear. But essentially, you can use the starting 5 team, which I have a video on. You can check out in my champion spotlights. You can use the starting 5 and you can beat pretty much anything you want. All right. So now the starting 5 is essentially this. You basically are going to put him, that's Apothecary, in the lead, all right, as your damage dealer, sorry, not your damage dealer, as your defense hero. And then you can bring in Kale, you can bring in your defense down hero. He's your healer, and then you can bring in Spirit Host as your attack up. Now you can do whatever you want here. So for this fight, just to make it quicker, we're going to switch these two. If you're having trouble staying alive, put him in as your defensive hero, and it'll work just fine. Now, this also works with the actual starting 5 because I use Apothecary because he is much, much better. Um, you can use any speed up hero you want. It doesn't matter. Diabolist is the actual part of the starting 5. So we're going to start it with this team just so you can see it, and then we will switch into Apothecary. Now, Apothecary is a much better hero, like in pretty much almost every sense of the word. But yeah, you can rock any one of these with all farmable heroes from campaign and one uh, of your starting champions. Doesn't matter which starting champion, as long as they're in lifesteal and they can kind of beat things, you're okay. There's no problem there. See? And they take care of it. Short work. You've got attack up. You've got defense down. You've got poisons. You've got a shielder with Valerie. You've got a speed up hero with Diabolist. And you can just basically keep your team moving fast and kicking the crap out of the boss. And it works. There's no real designated healer in this team, so that can be an issue if you don't have lifesteal. Because remember, Valerie's a healer, but she's not that great of a healer. She's very slow on the heal. It's also accompanied by a shield, which helps keep you alive a little bit longer, but I would probably say that her shield might disappear before the healing even becomes a thing where you're like, oh, I need to get healed. Like, well, you're gonna get killed. So just be careful when you're lower end. Just make sure you're just building up and only fight in the areas that you know you can beat. Now, as far as moving forward, stage 15 through 18. This is essentially where you're going to start to see, you might get your butt handed to you a couple times. I mean, you're starting to see 185, 200, 220. Really, 200 is when you're going to start seeing a change in your builds. All right. Whereas in the beginning, up to like 15, 13, 14, 15, you can kind of just beast your way through it. All right. You don't need to. Here, we'll go into 15, actually. We'll do 15. Where are you? Here it is 15. So we're going to go into 15. You can pretty much do whatever you want here. I believe we've used this team all the way up until 20. Like you can use this team up until 20 if you're really building your team correctly and moving forward fast. If not, you may want to start considering switching out some heroes. I'm going to show you what we're going to do at stage 20. And we have played stage 20 with this team. They did win. All right. So you can do it all the way up to 20 with a farmable team from campaign. So you can literally just build these guys up to 60 and get them some really good gear and just keep working on them. And this is why I say in the starting five video that these heroes are worth it even if you're going to be going forward with legendaries and other heroes. Having this team is really good to kind of just beat stuff without having to worry because you have everything you need. You have someone who can turn meter. You have somebody who can heal you up to full HP. You've got a three hitter for Fire Knight with Apothecary. This team is literally the GOAT of all rare teams. They just do everything you need them to do. You can get through almost anything. You can get through Spider up until I think 15 is when we started seeing a problem. And that's because you're going to start needing very specific things in that dungeon. But yeah, these guys are going to get you through. Dragon is not very hard. And it's mainly because it's the best place to farm and it's a starter dungeon. This is the easiest dungeon in the entire thing. We beat it all the way through hard mode. It was the first dungeon we beat on hard mode. And it is going to get harder. Don't get me wrong. You're going to see that your heroes are going to die. You're going to take hits. If you can't really do anything, the only problem with this team is they don't have crowd control. All right. They can't stop a team from attacking, which means you're going to take it to the face with this team. All right. Those enemies are going to hit you. So your team needs to be much stronger. You're going to need to start getting blessings. You're going to need to start getting more gear. You're going to need to start doing a lot of things. And this could take you up to 8 months to get through stage 25. It just depends on how much you play and what you're trying to accomplish. So don't get beat up if you think, oh, I can't beat it. I can't get It's like you can watch the beginning of my mystery shard only run videos and you can watch all the way up to the point where we actually beat stage 25. It takes a long time. So don't think that this is like I've said it's been plenty of times. This is a marathon game. It is not a sprint. All right. You are not going to get to stage 25 unless you spend tons of money and get a bunch of heroes leveled up in one day. And even then, there's so much in this game that you don't have yet that it's still going to be hard. So just know that you can do it with any team. All right. So now once we start moving into stage 18, when we played this the first time, this is where we started dying. All right, with the current team you just saw. So we were getting our ass handed to us around here. All right, so 17, 18, 19, this is where things got dangerous. And we couldn't win. All right, I can beat them now because my team is much stronger, but you're probably not going to beat these with those heroes right off the cuff unless you really focus on them. So just be aware that this is where it's going to get hard. So what did we do? Well, we adjusted. All right, we took Valerie out. This team works. Now, what we did is we put Apothecary in the front because we were getting killed too easy. All right. So this gives us now 21% increase in defense. All right. You could keep her there if you want to speed up. Sometimes having more speed is better. It just depends. All right. But yeah, we're going to leave him here. Now, 6 months in, I told you this is going to take a while because we didn't start beating these dungeons at this level until 6 months because we got Syl. All right. So that's the hero that we brought in. And you know what? Immediately we were able to start beating up to like 20, 21, 22 because you now have a reviver. All right. So if you have any other rare reviver or anyone who can keep you alive, It is conceivable that you could do it. The only downside here is that you would lose her stun. She has a stun crowd control, all right? And that's kind of the team that you really, that's the hero you really want to use for this. So we're going to go into stage 18. Actually, we'll go into 20. We'll just show 20 real quick. Boop. There you go. We'll do 20. So here we go. Take her out, put Syl in. Syl literally is the reason, we'll do a double. Syl's literally the reason that you're able to beat 90% of dungeons in the early game. All right. She's going to keep your team alive. You're going to be able to, get heals every single time she runs. She's got turn meter drop so she can stop heroes from attacking. She can stun them so she can stop heroes from attacking. Literally the best kit for a brand new player. So if you are playing for if you made it to 6 months, yeah, you should definitely bring Syl in for these high end things. This is not 6 months in raid is like nothing. I mean, we've been playing the game for almost 3 years now. So 6 months is basically a blip in this game. So if you don't want to, if you don't like playing for game for 6 months, then raid's probably not for you anyway. Just go play something else. This game is basically an MMO on wheels. Is essentially what it is. So yeah, as you can see, the team is working very well. We don't have any issues. Can you beat this with the teams that I just showed you? Yes, you can do it with Apothecary. It's just going to be much slower. See all the stuns that we've got? You're not going to have any of that. So once again, you're going to take it to the face. So that's why we have a bolster set on Spirit Host and a bolster set on Valerie, because both of them can put up a shield right in the first round, which basically means that you get 2, 3 rounds where you can take hits and still not die because it's going to go right to the shield. Now, if you don't have bolsters, you can use shield sets. That does work just as well. Anything to keep your team from getting one shot, basically. If you have a reviver, it's not as important. It also depends on how many damage dealers you want to bring in. I mean, I could bring in probably 100 damage dealers in this fight and still win. It would just be really strong defensive heroes that can keep themselves alive and kill things pretty quickly, and maybe even have like a stun or a turn meter drop on them. Anything you can do to make sure that the waves aren't going to give you trouble. Lifesteal gear, once again, is the number one thing to try to get through here. It stops your heroes from dying, especially when there's a heal on cooldown, especially if you're using someone like Valerie. She's a very slow cooldown, like 4 turns, I think it is, on her shield. So yeah, you see, but that's the hit right there, that big hit with the poison. That's where you're going to see some problems. Spirit Host is great in here because she can remove all of that crap, and she can also make you immune to it for 1 turn. So yeah, having a debuff remover is not necessary, but way better because you can keep yourself from getting, all those ticks from the poisons. Because that stuff adds up. If he gets a couple turns in there, he's going to poison the crap out of you and then do attack down, and then all of a sudden your team's dead. So works like a charm. 60% of the time, it works all the time. So yeah, we've got a really good team here. I mean, you're going to basically beat most of your dungeons with this team if you have been following at least, my videos. If you haven't been following my videos, then you're probably using a bunch of legendaries and a bunch of epics. But yeah, you can do this with pretty much any team with Syl as long as you have the basics. You need someone who can poison. That's a good idea because poisons destroy this guy. So anyone, even like a frozen banshee or something, can work in here. You want somebody who can do at least a little bit of crowd control, someone who can speed the team up, and then attack up, defense down, and you'll be able to get through this pretty easily. And you'll get some nice 6-star gear with a flat HP stat. So you never know when something good's going to come up. And yes, that was sarcastic. Here we go. Defense. That's actually not bad. Defense and speed on a toxic set. That's actually probably the best thing you can get for that. But yeah, Teamworks, we got 400,000, 471 from Apothecary, 365 from Spirit Host. Kale is obviously going to be doing most of the damage with War Maiden. They both have poisons. She has defense down. He's got multiple poisons he can throw out there. So yeah, he's going to do the most of the damage. And Syl and Apothecary and Spirit Host are literally just there to keep the team rolling and keep these two from dying. That's it. Now, this is the team I was talking about, and this is the team that is on the thumbnail of this video. They did beat stage 25. All right, so they beat stage 25. It took over 5 minutes, I think. I'll have to look at it again, but I'm pretty sure it took about 5.5 minutes. So is it optimal? No, it is not optimal. However, if you've been playing the game long enough to get to stage 25, from this point forward, all right, from stage 21 all the way to 25, if you want, you can build the team that I just did. All right, that's fine. Totally do it, and you'll get through stage 25. If you don't want to do that and you actually want to use the heroes that you're using to level, that's when things start to change. So like more than likely it'll take you about 8 months to a year to get to this point if you're playing normally. All right. If you're hardcore, obviously, I mean, you could beat Dragon 25 probably in like a couple months if you're like really hardcore in this game and you get some really good pulls. So there are options there. But if we're just going with heroes that you get in game, all right, what would you do here? Well, obviously, there's a couple heroes you would bring in. So Mithrala is an amazing hero for Dragon. All right, amazing attack up, defense up, protection. She's got shields. She just doesn't die. Awesome, awesome, awesome hero. Another awesome hero for here could be Arbiter. If you want to use her, she's a reviver, someone that works really well. I'm not going to use her for this. Honestly, I don't really bring her into most things. Who's the number one bastard in this entire game? Yakarl. You get him from the shop, or was that clan shop, right? You get her from Hydra. So she's going to take the longest out of everyone. So that's why she's so good, though. But yeah, these three right here, amazing for this. Also, Gerda. Gerda is an awesome hero for this. We're not going to use her because she takes a long time to get from walking. I think you're talking like 2 years for her or 1.5 years. It's a long time. But she is amazing if you end up pulling her. We're not going to bring her in. You could bring someone like him in for provoking and helping you with it. But honestly, he's not going to be the best option for this, but he's not terrible. And then, funny enough, Apothecary. We use Apothecary on 90% of our teams. It's true. Like they just constant like he's just a constant in every single fight that we ever do. So with this team, you now have shielding. So she's replacing your Valerie. Basically, he's replacing um Kale. The only difference is that he's going to be there for crowd control. So now no one's getting a turn. All right. Between these three, no one is getting a turn on this fight. All right. The only one that's going to get a turn is the dragon. All right. And then you've got your healer and you're all set. Now, the fifth person is whatever your team needs. All right. So you could bring in anyone you want. If you have Kale, you want to bring Kale for poisons. You want to bring Frozen Banshee for poisons. You can do that. If you want to bring an extra healer, someone like Grush could be very useful in this fight. Definitely an interesting cat that you could bring in. Someone like Yannicka could be someone you could bring in for more damage. She's not really that great for this kind of stuff, but at least you have an option in her if you want to use her. You could bring someone like her in with Visix, and she's pretty good. She does ally protect, but you don't really need it in this fight, so I wouldn't really waste my time with it. Someone like Dark Kale would be amazing in this fight because you basically get poisons that are getting exploded, and he does attack down and a couple of other things. So he's really good for this fight. Um, so I would probably say he's the one I would choose, and that's who I'm going to choose. But you could bring in anybody. I mean, we've brought in Penitent with this team. She actually hits really hard on a boss. You know what? We'll bring her. Why not? She'll be fun. You can bring in whoever you want, though. All right. So we'll go in stage 25. So the fastest we've ever done this has been 2 minutes and 37 seconds. I don't really know which team I use for that, to be honest. Probably with Gerda and a couple of other things because they just poison. You can also bring in Cleo. Cleo is a really good and hero in conjunction with Mithrala for wasting the waves. And sometimes you might want to consider bringing someone in like a Cleo who can just kind of destroy waves fast because you're going to save time on the waves. You might go a little slower on the boss, but the waves are really the part that's boring. And you don't want to sit. I mean, you get to sit here and watch, your team attack the same five dummies every single time you do this. But Mithrala is basically going to put a petrify on everybody when they try to attack. Your Carl's going to go in and freeze everybody. You've got an extra stun from Syl, and you've got speed up from your boy over there, Mister Mister Apothecary, and then Penitent's just there because she's fun. Penitent's not going to show her colors until the boss. You're going to see, actually, we brought her in here and we did a video on her. She is insanely good. I didn't think Penitent would be great at all, and she has shocked me beyond all belief that she can hit as hard as she does. And she is great for fights like this. She can remove any debuff that is put on her and make herself immune to debuffs by herself. So you don't even need a spirit host for her or a Mithrala. You're going to need it for the other heroes, but yeah, she's going to basically do whatever she wants and she's going to get a counter. So she's constantly going to be getting extra turns on the boss and you're going to love it. Love, love, love her. Would I choose her as my number one choice? Not unless I had heroes like the ones you're seeing in this fight. All right. If you don't have these kinds of heroes, she becomes less effective because she's a single target damage dealer and then your whole team's going to die because you don't have enough damage on your team to get through the waves. Or the fight's going to take 20 minutes, which, by the way, we have done. All right. I have done 20-minute fights. You can go back and watch my fights on Dragon and especially Ice Golem. Ooh, Ice Golem is brutal at high level and you will be taking a lot of time. All right. So don't beat yourself up. Take your time, get the heroes you need, Start with the starting five heroes. Like I said, I have a video on my channel in the Champion Spotlight videos, and you can watch that to kind of get the idea of how to start your journey into Dragon. And then this is the evolution. I mean, you're going to get Still within 6 months. You, Carl, you could conceivably start saving up for right in the beginning. If you join a clan, that's really good, and you get a lot of coins during a lot of the events and things like that. And if you're doing quests, make sure you're doing the missions every single week. Very important to get those pieces, and then within a reasonable amount of time, you might even be able to get your Carl by the time you get Sil. So that is possible. Mithral is going to take a little bit longer unless you have a clan that is really active in Hydra and beats the boss, because then you can get double the amount. So I would look for an active clan early on if you can. An apothecary you just get from pulls. I mean, more than likely you'll get them if you're pulling every single thing. If you're doing the mystery shard only run like me, it may take you longer, or it could never happen. I mean, I have heroes that I still haven't pulled yet in rares, so it does happen. You could get unlucky. But otherwise, I think there might even be some codes for apothecary at this point where you can pull an apothecary or a guaranteed apothecary. They've done that before. So either way, he is a legendary hero, essentially, is what I'm saying. But once you get to where I am, yeah, does it matter who you bring in here? No. All right, so let's see how much damage she can do. I love seeing Penitent in boss fights against like champions that people would say are amazing, you know. Mithral is going to poison the boss, which is really nice. It's going to add some extra damage to the boss. Right there, she's doing 30. This is where you're going to see Penitent get more attacks and kind of possibly beat out. Actually, she will beat out Yakarl. Yakarl sucks for bosses. At least this boss. He's great for other ones. But Dragon, Yakarl is the worst. Look at that. Counter is up. I don't think we ever break the shield because this is stage 25. Doesn't really matter though because we have Mithrala. I mean, if the other team could beat it, then this team can beat it. Actually, the other team I think broke through the shield on the first run because they had more poisons and stuff. And having uh, Smite on at least one hero in here, I have it on Sil, is a very good idea because that Smite helps make the fight faster. If you don't have it, it doesn't mean you can't win. It just means that it's going to be harder and longer. That's it. Usually that's not a bad thing, but you know what? In Dragon, that is a bad thing. I love Penitent. I could make a whole video about just how much I love Penitent. And I kind of did. It was a champion spotlight, so I guess there's that. But yeah, I could easily make her one of my favorite heroes of the entire game. Like that's how much I like Penitent now. And it was funny because I really didn't think it. I just ended up getting a 6-star version of her, Blessing, and I was like, "There's no way she's that good." I'm like, "Let's try her out," and then we got her to 60, and then it was the best thing I think I've ever done. I use her not every day, but she's definitely fun for stuff like this, where you're like, "Oh, well, let's bring her in and see what she can do." She gets a ton of counters. She can keep herself alive. If you gave her a little bit of regen, she could probably just be her own person and just level up and essentially beat bosses by herself because she's that good. And she hits really hard. Her multipliers are a lot stronger than I would expect from a rare garbage hero that probably has the worst reviews. Look at that. Ooh, 55K from Penitent, doing some damage. There you go. 1530. She's hitting for Carl's only getting damage because of his mastery. There you go. Decreased tax. I don't think we have her. I don't know if we have her in War Master. We'd have to look. Maybe we'll just do a quick walkthrough of the gear we have, just so you can kind of see what I have them in. You're obviously, if you're just started, you're not going to have obviously the gear that I have, but I can give you at least alternatives as to what to do with the gear sets on the heroes that we used. Luckily, this is an easy dungeon to explain because there's not too much you really need to beat it. It's just leveling and getting better gear. That's all it is. Boom. Look at that. He's done. Reap what you sow. All right. So we got what? We got an attack piece that has garbage on it. So we're going to get rid of that. And then this actually has speed. So we'll keep it. So let's look. So you've got your Carl who did 2,500,000 damage. Mithral did 3 million. Penitent did 1. And all she does is single target. All right. So most of his damage and her damage is coming from those AoEs in the waves. So you're seeing a ton of damage from there. All this damage came from the boss. So yeah, if you have someone who can wipe out those waves, yeah, you can use Penitent easily in Dragon. But yeah, no problem. This took 6 minutes, so it was a slow fight. Funny enough, actually a lot slower. But this is just with heroes that any one of you can get over time. All right, and you can replace any one of these heroes with the exception of Syl, unless you have a really good reviver. You can replace them all with the heroes that we had before. Penitent can be War Maiden. You can have Mithrala be Valerie. You can have Yakarl be Kale, and you can still beat this fight eventually. Remember, it's eventually. So yeah, let's go look at their gear and stuff and see what they're all about. Yeah, we don't want these. Honestly, these special offers have made me hate Raid. It's kind of funny. All right, so Mithrala, we put her in. This is not even the best set for her. We have her in a Swift Parry set. Um, Pretty much that's the deal with her. She's got crit rate, she's got HP and defense on her boot. So we actually have her pretty fast. You could make her faster, but we chose to make her a little bit slower and give her defense because we want her defense to be high and we want her to have HP so that her shield is stronger. So that's kind of what we did, and it's the gear that we just certainly just happen to have. We've got HP on her on all of her stuff here except for her banner, which we have accuracy. Um, your Carl is in all we can do to get his accuracy up. That's what we were working on. He's got a crit damage glove because we got him to a good crit rate. We've got attack on him. We've got speed. You know what? We'll look at this real quick. We'll just take a look at their actual stats just so you can see them. I'm not going to go through every single hero. You can always pause the screen if you want on these heroes and you can see what their stats are. So here's Carl. Just notably, he's got 5,000 attack, so that's really strong, obviously. So that's good. Yeah, he's same thing. Like I said, crit, attack, speed. He's got accuracy, and then crit damage and attack. So those are his three accessories. When you move over into Syl, Syl has literally the same build I've had since I built it the first time. This is the first set of Relentless gear that I've ever gotten and she's still using it. Not the first set, but the first good set from an event. And she's had it the entire time. I've literally never changed her. Her speed is garbage. Look at this 83 plus speed. All right. And she still does the job. So, yeah, there's room for improvement on all of this, and you can easily beat it quicker. So she's got defense on her glove. She's got defense on her chest, and even flat stat, even more disgusting. She's got speed on her boot. Then we've got defense, crit damage, and accuracy, so she can land those stuns. She needs accuracy. She has accuracy. Her masteries, she's one of the few people that we go into accuracy because we want it. Same thing with Mithrala. She's kind of the same thing. We want that accuracy. We need it on her. Carl, not so much. That we went down your normal tree for War Master. Let's see. So that's Syl. And I think her stats, let's look. So there's her stats in case you want to pause that out, so you can see what we're dealing with, and you can make her a lot better. As far as everyone else goes, yeah, Penitent's ridiculous. She is 83,000 power. She's disgusting. I love her. But we got a really good set on her. We've got some crit damage on her glove. We've got attack on her chest. We've got speed, and then she's got attack, crit damage, and HP on her little banner here, which I don't know why I did that. I don't think she needs it. But hey, why not? We'll just give her more HP. Those are her masteries, basically down to Helm Smasher, so you can do damage through things and more defensive stuff. We do have a few heroes with some artifacts, but I don't think artifacts really that matter that much right now. I don't have any high end ones. They're all going to be like 2 star or possibly 3. That's really about it. I think 3 stars the highest we have on this account. We've got apothecary, all speed, all day, every day. Actually, let's look at. I forgot penitent's stats. Right? Did we look at this? Yeah, there you go. 220 crit damage. Not even 3,000 attacks, so she's not even that strong right now. Just imagine what she could do if she was like really, really attack heavy. You've got Apothecary. Once again, he's an all speed. I mean, look at this. He's got almost, where is he? 297 speed. So we're just shy of that 300 mark on him. You want him to be as fast as you possibly can. We've beaten these things with him at like 250. So just know that 300 is a bit higher than you need to be for these to actually work, but it's not bad. All speed all the time. He's got HP, defense, speed, and then all defense all across his whole thing. He doesn't need any accuracy. You could put some HP on him and you could switch this out to a crit damage thing because his heals can crit, but I've never cared about it, and he works phenomenally even without the crit rate, so I don't care. We just want him to stay alive and win. Spirit Host, bolster set, like I said. Essentially, we've got her in attack, HP, flat stat, speed. We've got attack, defense, and resistance. It works. She stays alive. She doesn't take any damage. And she actually doesn't get hit with a lot of debuffs. That's also really good. And she can heal herself with the bolster set, and she can heal herself with her A1. So even better. Stats. Most of these guys are going to have like Phantom Touch. She has no relic and masteries down to War Master because she heals herself with her attacks, which is why we do that. She's an attack oriented hero. Don't think that she just because she does single target attacks that she's not good because she's literally one of the best heroes in the game, hands down, even against some legendaries. Valerie, actually, let's look at her stats real quick. There you go. So there's her stuff if you want to see it. She has about 253 speed, which is kind of nice. Valerie is in same thing, all bolster, but she's a little more defensive. She's got defensive glove, she's got HP, she's got speed, and then you've got some HP on her ring, defense on her amulet, and resistance on her banner. Her total stats are pretty crazy. She's actually got reasonable HP. She's got 54,000 HP and 3,000 defense. We don't care about crit rate with her, and her resistance is 300. We just want her to stay alive and heal. That's it. Her masteries are all through War Master and into things that give her more shield. So that's where she's at. And then we've got our other baby here, War Maiden. She's basic mastery setup for attackers. All her skills are done there. No relic. All right. And then she's actually not built that great. She's 49,000 compared to the rest of my teams. She's got crit rate, she's got defense and speed because we want her to stay alive a little bit longer. She does have a problem with that if you don't put defense on her. So we've got attack, we've got defense, and then we've got more defense because, like I said, she's got to stay alive. She's there to give you attack up and put poisons. That's it. Anything else you can get out of her with attack is great. All right, but otherwise, poisons and attack and defense down. Her stats right here. There you go. 35,000 HP, 3,000 attack. So a little bit, pretty good. Pretty good if you need it. And then I think there was no one else that we used. If you want to see my Galek, there you go. He's the one that killed the dragon in stage 1. He was doing a good job. Frozen Banshee's a really good poisoner for there if you want. I would just make sure she has tons of defense. All right, as much defense as you can and as much accuracy as you get. Look at that, 375. You want her to be able to land those poisons. Very, very important. Did we look at Kale? I don't even know if we looked at Kale yet. Here he is. Did we look at him? He's in lifesteal. We've got crit damage, we've got defense and speed, we've got attack, we've got crit damage, and we've got defense on his banner. You could put an accuracy on here. We kept him more defensive because I want him to stay alive. And so far, it's actually been working fine. He never really seems to have a problem with it. So yeah, if you're having trouble landing stuff, then yeah, make this an accuracy banner. And honestly, even if you're not, his accuracy is disgustingly low for him. We just never rebuilt him because he works the way he is. So I never cared. But yeah, I would definitely put some accuracy on him and try to work out the other stats through other gear. Uh, Other than that, there's not many other heroes that I would specifically choose for Dragon. Um, yeah, there's no one here that I could think of that I'm like, yo, this is the best one. I mean, there's a couple of options for revivers. You've got Grinner, who's pretty good. You've also got, if you're having trouble keeping your team alive, you've got Meat Carver Tolog, who can do a lot of good stuff, defensing up. He can heal over time, and he can do revives, which are really good for anybody who doesn't have a reviver. So you've got plenty of options in the way of like healers. I mean, even someone like Abyssal could be useful. I don't think I would choose him for it, but yeah, definitely someone who I would say is not terrible for the fight. War Priest could be useful as a support hero if you're really, down in the dumps, but I just don't think she's that great, so I probably wouldn't waste my time with it. Mother Superior is actually better than her, I would say. She can do full heals and she pops up shields, I think, right? I'm pretty sure. But yeah, these are some heroes that you could use in here to get through. And any poisoners, Avir is a really good hero for attack down and healing and turn meter boost, so you could use him. Bowsmith is always a good support hero. He does some pretty cool stuff, does some extra attacks with players. And then if you want, you could bring in some heroes who have, destroy max HP. I'm not destroy max HP, who have attack based on the HP of the enemy, someone like Steel Boyer, or even your boy Armiger to do some smackdowns if you wanted to with some big hits and especially at the higher levels because that's when they're really going to shine. All right. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, things you want to talk about, things you want to discuss, feel free to leave a comment below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. You help the channel grow. And we do a live show every single week, not necessarily on this game, just in other games in general. And yeah, if you want, you can become a member for $1.99 a month, which basically gives you access to all my videos as soon as I post them. And it gives you a free video every week that has no commercials for members only and you get some emojis and my undying affection. All right, so yeah, this is the Dragon Quick Guide, stage 1 through 25, the remake. This is Mobile Gamer Nerd, and you guys take care.